and welcome to yet another session in the Vision Pack series. As always, I am your host Vidyut Joshi for this session too. So it's good to be back with all you wonderful parents, and I really do appreciate the time that you have been sparing for these sessions. So I'm sure you enjoyed our last session, which was with Sonali Shivlani on the right habit formations. So today is our eighth session in the series. And just to recap, we've been through physical fitness. Okay. So, like all our other sessions, this session two is definitely about babies. But I would like to start by talking about adults. So let's take a minute to think about some of your friends, families, maybe colleagues, or even just acquaintances around you. So what we observe all the time is that different people have different skills. So some people may be really great problem solvers, some are very balanced thinkers, and some we know they are very swift and agile, and some of them we might meet with very meticulous planners and packers, very organized when they go on travel, and if you see their suitcase, it's amazing. So as I was saying, like if you think about these people in your life, you will really be surprised. See, all these skills are actually not just plain intelligence. There's much more to it. So very often we've heard of an absent-minded professor who is very intelligent, but is not necessarily very organized. So these skills are much broader. So actually in our brain, there's a wider function, which is called executive function. And it's also linked to self-regulation. And no one is born with it. Okay. And all of us, we develop it over a period of time. And this skill, to a great extent, basically defines how we our success in later life, and more importantly, our happiness, I would say. So it is this function or skill that basically helps us to kind of manage information, make decisions, plan ahead, even initiate a task or end a task. So in short, it is like it helps us to control and manage our thoughts and actions. So you can think of like Howard University, it says, executive functions, you can think of them like a air traffic control system where there are numerous planes coming in and out, and at the control station they decide who comes in, what should who takes priority of the landing strip, and who has to be in the cruise mode and something like that. But I would like to give another example. Like, if you people have seen this Pixar movie Inside Out, it's an amazing movie where they have actually shown what goes on inside the mind of a little child, when there are so many emotions coming in and out, and which takes precedence and what goes on. So of course that's more on self regulation, but watch that film. It will be a good Sunday movie for you to watch if you haven't seen it. So the makers of that film have actually they've consulted neuroscientists and psychologists and to get that science right. So it's related to this. So it is, this journey of executive function, it actually starts when children go about their basic movements. And in fact, that is why our session today is titled Baby Movements to Expert Skills. So I'm sure we would all like our little ones to develop these good executive functions and self regulation skills. So, of course, we want them to all grow up to be smart, efficient, balanced, probably responsible, and happy individuals, isn't it? So, what is the good? The good news is, you can contribute as parents to this development in a big way, because they are, as I said, they are developing all along. And that's what right parenting is all about. And to help us understand this, we have with us today an expert, Dr. Mona Doshi. So Dr. Doshi is a practicing occupational therapist, and she's been working in the field of pediatrics for more than 20 plus years now. She has her own therapy center, Kriva, and she's been working with children of all ages, more in a fun and an interactive way. So, assessing movements in children and suggesting this therapeutic methods is what she does best. So, she is absolutely the right person to tell us about this topic, isn't it? So, welcome, Dr. Doshi. Great to have you with us today. And I'm really, really eager to know about how our movements in the early years have an impact on our skills in adulthood.
Hi, Vidyut.
Hi.
It's great to have. I mean, you come here, and I thank Bibler for inviting me for this session. Um, so this is also one of my favorite topic, in occupational therapy.
Right. Yeah. Great. So it's good. I think you can probably tell me, why, okay, why you didn't become a juggler or even an expert chef. Yeah. So before we begin, there is one little thing I would like to do. I would just like to read a disclaimer. So just give me a moment. This session is not intended to give any medical advice. Our objective is to make parents aware of the importance of the right kind of movements in the early years. We are only going to mention broad categories and generally accepted principle. Please consult a doctor or specialist about all specific questions and circumstances. So good. So that with that underway, let's begin. So Mona, let's start with baby movements. What is movement and why is it so necessary and important for physical and mental development in a child?
Okay, basically, what is movement? Movement is like when you are moving any of your body part, or you're moving your body from one place to another place, or while doing an action. So your body part or your body is performing a movement. But the movement actually begins even before the child has been born. It begins in the womb. Like, for example, by around say 18 or 19 weeks, the child starts kicking in the womb.
Yeah.
And that is the time when some mothers may say, okay, he used to kick me a lot, he or she. And some may say, I never felt the movement as much.
Hmm.
And by end of your third trimester, obviously the kicks go down as the baby has grown. So the movements actually start in the womb, by around 18 to 19 weeks. And once when the child, after the birth of the child, also there are movements. In India also, what's happened is, we tend to tie the child, initial few
Swaddle.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so initial few months, that is the tendency to do. But abroad, if you go to see, most of the children, they are on their tummies.
Hmm.
They are put on their tummies, and they are never laid on their backs.
Backs.
But
Yeah.
in India, it is most of the time the child is laid on the back.
Hmm.
So the I would also say, okay, the tummy time is important, and you can lay your child on the tummy under your observation. That is between 0 to 6 months. So
Hmm.
now, why and what are these movements? Even say by around the age of 3 to 4 months, the body movements start. So the child starts rolling. By the age of 6 to 7 months, the child may start sitting. By 9 months, the child starts crawling, and then by around first birthday, most of the children have started taking their first steps.
Hmm.
Now, what happens if you don't allow this, or how do these movements come about? It's not that the child does it once and the movements come. There's a lot of repetition required from the child. A lot of efforts have to be put in by the child to acquire these movements. For example, for walking, the child is initially, it's not that the child just starts walking. He falls, he sometimes crawls, and then again gets up, and then he starts walking. So to
Right.
master even walking is not a one day thing. It takes over a period of say 2 months.
Hmm.
So basically, the movements are very important even for learning. Movement enhances learning.
Right.
For example, even as with you, or for this parents also who are now right now who have to sit on the desk and work. So
Right.
after the point, don't you feel, okay, I need to get up, I need to move my legs, I need to stretch my legs, and
Right.
say after half an hour or two, it's like, okay, I'm done with it now. Are you able to focus?
Hmm.
No. So you need to move around. So even as adults or even as child, you need to move around after a point, because that definitely enhances your learning.
Right.
And even the same thing applies for children in school. So children in school, why were those recess or why those breaks are given in between?
Hmm.
Why is now the school continuously there for 4 to 5 hours? Do you think these children are going to be able to sit and focus for that much time?
Hmm.
No, they are not going to be able to focus for so long. And that is why the children need a break. And during the break, they need to move again to learn new things.
Right.
But sadly, the recesses
Cut
time
down.
has, yes,
Yeah.
the schools have been cutting it off, which is again
Yeah.
a sad thing.
Yeah,
So,
there are no playgrounds also in schools. Many
uh,
schools don't have playgrounds nowadays.
playground, and then the teachers complain that the child is not sitting in one place, or the child is unable to focus, or child is
Right.
unable to concentrate. But how will the child do that?
Yeah.
Because the food for the body is movement. You
Right.
give it food, and then of course it's going to perform much better. So
Mm-hmm.
also here I would also like to add, there is a system called vestibular system in our body, and the vestibular apparatus is in our inner ear.
Yeah.
Now this vestibular system also helps in your upright posture, helps you to sit and focus for a longer period of time,
Mm-hmm.
many other things. So now if the movement is restricted, or if the child at a young age is put into bouncers or into walker and is not allowed to explore around, the
Right.
vestibular system also is not able to develop and mature fully. So
Oh.
if this is not done, then later on, as a child or during the office hours,
Right.
there would be issues faced by the child, issues faced by the child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does this also help in cognition? How does movement also help in cognition? So movement also helps in cognition. For example, it helps in enhances learning behavior, memory, retrieval. It helps in motivation. It helps in also improving your morale
Right.
during work. So best way for the children would be to go, I mean, for garden activities. So right now in pandemic, of course, that can't be done, but that is also the best way for the child to
Right.
learn. And also this movement also help us in developing our executive functional skill of what you spoke about a few minutes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is the reason, one of the reason the movement is so important for
Right. Yeah.
child or an adult.
Correct. So movement have both an impact, of course, physical as well as a mental impact. And
Yes.
as you said, they are related to our executive functions as grown ups. So, I mean, if I could you just elaborate a bit more on these executive functions so that for our parents to understand it in a bit more. It sounds like a technical term, but if you can
Hmm.
explain it to us, it would be very helpful.
So what are executive function? It's not that executive functions is something new. It's only for this
Mm.
generation. They have been through
Yeah.
ages, but we actually never needed to, develop them because the times were different. The activities were different, and
Yeah.
today's generation, the activities are different, or the children are also different for that matter.
Yeah.
So what are executive function skills? Executive function skills are the skills which allow us to process a project or a work, to start a work and see it through the end. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of steps which go into that. It could be organizing, prioritizing, focus, perseverance
Right.
while doing a task. So now I would also like to elaborate a few executive function skills. So
Mm-hmm.
out of that, it would be like an self-regulatory behavior, what you said, or impulse control. So
Mm-hmm.
how does this help? This helps a child or an adult to think before speaking out. For example, a teacher has asked question in the class, and she specifically asked a child, but this child who may have difficulty in executive function skill may just blurt out the answer, instead of allowing the other child to
Yeah.
answer. And he might also blurt out inappropriate things, especially the things which are not supposed to be told, the secrets of the house or something like that. So even that could be done. Another executive function skill is flexible thinking. What does this skill do? This allows us to adjust to sudden changes and unexpected one. It allows us also to move from one task or topic easily without getting hassled. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
example, for a child, if today there is an English lecture happening, but suddenly the English teacher falls ill and she cannot attend the lecture, and a math teacher has to come in.
Yeah.
So what happens with children or children who are facing difficulties with executive function skill would be, for them the transition is difficult. They cannot accept that. So they may get aggressive, a lot of anxiety building, some building could happen.
Right, right.
Now, one of the other skills is also working memory. Now, what is working memory? Working memory is retaining the information, what we have learned over, and then using it whenever and however it is needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be short-term memory, long-term memory. It could be tables for children, or it could be even something, some related a topic to your for your project. So which okay, if you are doing a project on say history, so you need to have your historical facts now
Mm-hmm.
retained in your mind, and then only you can apply that. So again, this would be working memory. Then planning and prioritizing, as it suggests, it's decide on a goal and meeting it as to what I need to plan and prioritize. Like if I have to plan, if I have to write an essay, so how do I write the essay? What is the planning? What would be the introduction, and how would be the middle passage, and then the conclusion? I cannot write it haphazardly, like the conclusion before and then the introduction. So
Mm-hmm.
again, that is planning. And prioritizing is if there are 2 or 3 jobs to be done now, which I need to prioritize first, which it can be like if I have to submit something 2 days later, but if I have to submit something tomorrow, then I need to know, okay, I need to prioritize the one which I have to submit it tomorrow rather than post 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's like the executive function skills are this, it's like, as you also said, he's so the air traffic controller
Mm-hmm.
who helps in guiding the plane as to which is supposed to be land, which is supposed to land,
Right,
which is supposed to be fly, which is supposed to fly. So the same thing happens over here. It
right,
helps us to prioritize and organize our behavior as well.
right, right. Okay, that's great. So, I mean, just to like kind of summarize this, so you talked about three things here with respect to executive functions. I think one was working memory, one was, I think, mental flexibility, and one was self-regulation, right?
Right.
Right. So it's like these three things. I mean, basically, we all know about it. Working memory is like things to remember, things that you retain for like a scratch pad memory. So if
Hmm.
I equate it to, let's say, cooking or something. So one would be if I have to cook, I have to first decide what I'm going to cook. So that planning would come in over there. And the ingredients, buying all the
Ingredient.
ingredients, yeah, something like that. So, and maybe if there's another person who joins, like I've not planned for that, it's that mental flexibility.
Flexible. Yeah. Flexibility.
Okay, I think that's very interesting. So having that, it's a very important life skill, I would say. So if we train, or if we know about it, it becomes rather useful. So I would like to ask you one thing, Dr. Doshi, is, like we've seen children, when children they enter school, some of them really, really struggle at it. And when I'm saying struggle, not just I'm talking about a subject matter or learning per se. I'm talking about even like plain routine, coping with routine, even the behavior expectation, like you said, blurting out the answer or something like that. We know that the motor skills that children obtain during this childhood, of course we do know that later on, very complex movements happen, but these skills, they lay a foundation for academics in later life. So could you elaborate a bit more on that if possible?
See, the executive function skills, no child is born with it. They are there, but you need to enhance them. You need to develop them. Now, so how do you go about that? You cannot make a child sit and learn. Okay, you come on, I'm now working on your working memory. Come on, let's do working memory. You cannot do that. So how does that come? That comes by repetition, and that comes, it comes just like naturally you do certain activities. Like for example, working memory. If the child has to prepare a sandwich, for example,
Mm-hmm.
initially we teach him, okay, first has to apply butter, he has to apply chutney, then he has to lay down the vegetables, the vegetables also, whichever, I mean, potatoes, cucumber, onions,
Right,
tomatoes. Okay, so now the same thing when the child is preparing a second sandwich,
right,
he has to remember the steps, the
correct.
sequences, and also what all he is supposed to put in the sand, what goes into making the sandwich. So, which is again a working memory.
Mm-hmm.
The even the flexibility which you said, suddenly someone calls and says, "We are coming to your home," and then you get hassled. Okay, oh my God, this person's coming now. What am I going to do? So,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are very cool with it. Okay, he's coming. Okay, aane do usko. It's okay. So this is also again your flexibility, that how you perceive your environment and how you react to it. So those skills as an adult also at times they do need training, so because if they have been missed out during the childhood, as adult also at times you can work on them and help the adult to develop them. In children these skills are there, but some may be on the weaker side, which may need more repetition and enhancement, and some are developed very well. Now what happens when these skills are not given a chance to develop? So these children can face, as you said, that some children sail through the school, it's like a breeze for them, and some children do face difficulties. So here the education difficulties, many of the times the child or the parent, they complain, okay, my child is not paying attention in the school. He's not able to, he finds it difficult to focus for a longer duration. And as also you said, a clumsy or a forgetful professor. So that also does happen, that the child forgets. A lot of times the parents have said that he forgets the bottles, he forgets the pencils in the school. He forgets to tell me the instructions given by the teacher as to if for a project a chart paper has to be taken. Then suddenly in the morning when the child is leaving for school, he'll, oh mama, I have to take this chart paper. And we are lost because there's no chart paper at home. Okay, so these are the some of the also these children or adults for that matter at times you may find that their desk is unorganized. They may find it difficult to just find a paper, certain paper they need. So these are some of the skills. If they are not developed well, then definitely the child or adult would face difficulty in later on.
So I think there are people in the, they're asking some questions. So as I said, we will be taking up questions towards the end. In fact, very shortly, we will take up questions. And we are coming to your question. Somebody was asking that. And that's exactly the question that I was going to ask Mona just now. So like you said, Mona, we are not born with these executive function skills. So, and it can be developed. So I guess we as parents have got the biggest responsibility. So could you tell us, like, we as parents of an infant, a toddler, and a preschooler, at these various stages, how could we as parents pitch in so as to develop these skills?
Okay, yes. So parents or the caregivers role is very important at this stage. Even what Babler does between 0 to 3 months, or beyond that also, say around up to 10 years, I would say that movement is very important. Movement, because as also I mentioned earlier, movement enhances learning. And what happens is these movements, they create connections in the brain, and then the learning comes naturally, and it is fun for the child rather than a burden for the child. So what you can do, it's like, if I say between 0 to 6 months, the parents would say, 0 to 6 months, so what does the child do? He cannot do a lot. He's just lying down, rolling, and being on tummy. That is the maximum a child would do between 0 to 6 months. But yes, you can do a lot of things over there also. Like, for example, as Babler has those high contrast items, like the black and white flashcards, so which are a good way to start with, showing the child the flashcards, which helps develop their visual pathways. It also helps develop visual stimulation. Another thing which the parents can do is having that play mat or a play gym kind of things, where there are toys dangling, with the child tries to reach out and grasp. So when the child is trying to reach out and grasp, also movement is happening, the body movement is happening. With the hand, he is trying to reach out. And at times also, if you have seen, children, if there is something lying on the floor and it attracts them, they try to reach out. So that they roll over and then they try to creep on their stomach, or maybe they try to crawl and try to reach out. So what parents can do is, if these milestones are being developed in the children, at that age, and they want to enhance it further, just keep a toy a little away where the child really wants to get it, and he tries to creep on the stomach, which is also perseverance. Where the child really wants that toy. So this is Yeah, so this is something which can be done at home. And also at this stage I would like to add that, you know, tummy time is very important for
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
Many of the parents come and tell us, you know, that my child never liked to be on the tummy. The most of the time he was on back. Agar if he's going to be on back, fan is only going to be the only thing which he's going to see. And then when you ask the pacha, "Arey, fan ki tarah dikhao," he will point because that's the only thing he's been looking at.
Hmm.
So tummy time is very important
Right.
between, I mean, yeah, I mean, I can say between 3 and around 7 months, how much ever the child is on tummy,
Right.
it will help the child.
Hmm.
Okay, now, and what else you can do is you can talk to them, you can sing to them, you can show them books, read out stories to them.
Right.
Again, here you are also developing your sense of hearing, you're developing their vocabulary, you're also developing their sense of hearing in the sense, the pitches, the intonations of
Hmm.
your voice, you know, so that is also getting developed. And then later on, once their milestones start, like say walking and crawling, then the sky is the limit. Then you can do whatever. I mean, let them climb, let them explore, let them climb the sofas or the ladders or the windows.
Hmm.
And yeah, you need to be careful that the child does not fall and hurt himself badly, but a little falling and little bruising, I think, is quite okay. The child also needs to learn what is pain and what is safe, what is unsafe.
Right.
But please allow the child to explore. He can, like,
Hmm.
on the steps also one great way, you know, for allowing the child a lot of physical movement. And gardens are the best things, I would say. The
Yeah.
garden equipments, the swings, the slides, seesaw, monkey bars,
Yeah.
playing in the sand also, that is again a sensorial. So here a lot of sensorial and motor can be combined.
Hmm.
Sensorial will be using your five senses, that is your touch, smell, taste, ear,
Right.
and your sight.
Correct. Correct.
So the sensorial play also comes, I mean, it helps in your motor development. So motor and sensory together is a wonderful way to help develop
Hmm.
the child.
Okay. That's great. So, basically, simple activities that you can do, even like a simple peekaboo game that you play with your little children, that itself is helping develop these skills. So, the
Yes.
more I think, like as you said very rightly, motor as well as sensory development is very essential for these skills to develop. So, that's and we do that as parents. So I think, but what I'm hearing you say is like, like how there is a scaffolding to a building when that building is being come when it comes up. So we as parents should act like a scaffolding, just like a support system. And it's just a support. You be there for the child so that there's no harm done, and initiate little bits of play, but don't be a part of that play. Let the child explore and all that. So when the scaffolding is removed, how the building stands on its own, just like that, I think a child should be helped to grow and in play. So one thing that I hear from you is like free play is very important for the child, right? So free play as well as the structured play, yes, to some extent. I think they do that in school, but I think you stressed a lot about on free play. So especially in the parks and all, there are a lot of those ladders and all that. So especially one that my daughter as a child liked, there was this ladder, which horizontal ladder. If you hold it like this and you go this way, it's called brachiation.
Recreation.
So could you tell us something about that? What kind of faculties help develop with that?
The free play, or the free play, see, between 0 to 3 to 5 months, free play is very important for the child. You know why free play, like, why not structured play? See, the child, you have to be led by the child. At times what happens, the parents create a game for the child. Okay, now come on, let's do this, but the child may not be interested in that because it is not of his interest. So what you can do is let the child lead you. He let him, okay, you ask him, what do you want to do? If the child says, I want to read a book, so fine, read a book to him. Let him pick up the book. Now again, this year the decision ability also comes into play when you are allowing the child to choose for
Hmm.
himself.
Hmm.
And the free play, for example, I remember my sons, so at times when I couldn't take them out to play, and especially during the Mumbai monsoons, so
Hmm.
what they used to do is the mattresses, they used to put it in a sliding position on the bed, and then they used to roll down the mattress, they used to climb up the mattress, then they used to take the pillows, they used to make a tent. Your dupattas, your saris can be used to make tents.
Hmm.
So these are the best things which the child can use, and most of the things you would get at home, for creating a
Correct.
free play. You don't need to buy any stuff. The
Right.
fancy stuff are were not available, before. So what did the children do at that time? So whatever
Yeah.
was available at home, you take sofas. They used to take turn the sofas, and then they used to
Yeah.
make, and also
Mhm.
pretend play. With free play,
Yeah.
pretend play is also important.
Very
Like for
important. Yeah.
example, they're playing house house, or they're playing doctor doctor, or the best thing what the children want to play is, they want to play parents, like mama and papa. So
Hmm.
allow them to do that. Teacher is also one of the best things which,
Mhm.
they can do as a pretend play, and also
Right.
free play.
Correct.
So those things can be done for the free play.
Yeah, I think we had a session on the power of play some time ago, and we did some very fun things in that. Like for example, there was a just any item in your home. He made us do that. The person who was taking the session, so just throw it up and you clap. And how many times can you clap when that object is in the air? Even these simple things help build a lot of cognitive
Focus
skills also,
your
and focus are
focus
very
your
important.
cognition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so unfortunately today, with the playgrounds and schools shut off, I think you were expecting this question for me about the pandemic. These little children are most affected, I would say, because they have hardly any interaction. And some of our parents may feel that, my child has missed out on some of the milestones because of this lockdown. So, what would your advice be to such parents? What sort of activities can they do with their child, so that they are better equipped to handle these preschool milestones, as I would call them?
Yeah, so at home, like you can make the child walk on cushions, or you can ask the child to, you can make a tunnel from the chairs. Just line up 3 4 chairs and ask the child to go under the
Hmm.
chairs as if it's a tunnel.
Correct.
Okay, so they can also, walk over the chairs, which is again your motor planning. Also, if
Right.
your child has to reach an object, or if say the father is sitting at one corner and the mother is at one corner, you can have an obstacle path kind of thing where you can put two
Correct.
three cushions, you can put a chair, you can put a stick where the child has to jump over the stick or go over the stick. Now this
Hmm.
is also what we call as enhancing your motor planning, as to if the child has to reach a parent or reach a goal, how is he going to move himself.
Hmm.
And so here a lot of motor planning comes, and a lot of your strategic planning comes as to, how I'm going to go reach my goal. So these are
Right.
the things, steps, like the staircase also one of the best things where you can take your child. For example, just climbing up and down the steps.
Hmm.
Then climbing, I mean climbing down also, how it helps is your depth perception comes into play. Your visually also you have to actually see that, how are you going to put your foot down, like with how much of force you're going to put your foot down.
Right.
And walking backwards on the steps, jumping on the steps. Remember we used to do like jumping from the first step, then jumping from the
Yeah.
second step, third step.
Yeah.
So obviously, at this younger age group, they will not be able to do that by themselves, but you can hold their hands and help
And
them
so,
to jump, from the first step.
yeah.
And crawling, if you go to see even children how they crawl initially, climbing steps. If the child is unable to climb step, the age of say around 10 months or 1 year, the child crawls over the steps. He may
Right.
not be able to actually, go on climb the steps, but that is what you can do at home. Then swings. So if you don't have swings at home, what you can do is, if you have hooks on the ceiling which are stable enough, just tie a dupatta, in a form of U, and the child can sit on that and he can swing how they do it in
Mm.
villages. You remember those ropes
Yeah,
and the
the jhola. Yeah.
thing, kind of the jula.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just use that. In fact, that is so much of fun for the child
Correct.
also, because something new. The flat jula, so they can see in the in the garden or even
Correct.
ready made. But you
Yeah.
make this and let them do that.
I think it gives a different, perception of the world also when they are on their stomach and they are in that position moving. It gives a different perception. So they like
Yeah.
that.
As you rightly mentioned, you just put a pillow on that dupatta kind of swing and ask them to lie on the stomach, and imagine themselves as Superman. and
Yeah.
how a Superman swings.
Yeah.
And believe me, that is fun for the child. It's fun for the child. So they can do those things at home.
Correct.
And with this also, a lot of sensorial things can be done at home, like playing with your kitchen activities.
Right.
So putting even for example beakers, how you have a set of beakers where
Right.
you have to put them according to their sizes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if
Right.
beaker set is not available, what will you do? You have your bowls,
Right.
you have different sizes of bowls, so you put
Mhm.
one bowl into another, ask the child to put, so he will
Yeah.
gauge the size and then put
Correct.
spoon
Like a
and fork.
nesting
So
activity.
yeah, so
Mm.
you can do a lot of things at home, and but allow physical play, have a corner, allow him to jump and run, crawl.
Yeah.
Walking is very necessary, so allow the child to do that.
Yeah, so there are, I guess, a lot of activities, mostly the sensory activities. You can create like sensory corners for your child, and that just give different experiences. All these developmental inputs help in the long run a lot. And in fact, even in Babler, we suggest a lot of experience activities in our, with household materials as well as with our Babler box materials. So even household, like Mona, you yourself said about, the containers, we have a very popular activity where the lids of the containers are taken off, and then you have your child put back the lids or things like that, or even get your child to do household chores, like my daughter used to love peeling the deshelling the peas.
Please.
Yeah, so that was a fun activity. I would get my work done also, and she would enjoy it. We would discuss about it and all that. Yeah, we would be taking up questions shortly. Just one last thing that I would like to ask you, Mona, is you know, I did ask you this a little earlier, like equipping kids for preschool. I think our parents, nowadays parents do worry about that quite a bit. I think when I was younger, my parents, I'm not sure whether they worried so much about it. But many of our parents, they have asked us questions like, why don't you have writing activities as a part of your material box? We have provided a lot of pre-writing activities, like paper tearing and, paper squashing and stuff like that we have provided, but and which we feel is sufficient at this stage. What are your views on in this regard?
See, as an occupational therapist, we have referrals for cases of for writing, and so as you said, even at the age of 3.5, the schools refer that the child is not writing, and please help him to write. But as an occupational therapist, I would say 3 years is not the age for writing. You can definitely develop the pre-writing skills, yes, but writing, I would say that, parents, please don't force your child to hold a pencil or a crayon and write. They can have a pencil and crayon in hand and let them scribble. That is fine. But please don't stress the child for writing, because they are not ready for writing. Writing comes by the age of 4.5 to 5, when your hand muscles have started developing. So now what can you do for this? What we call as pre-writing skills or fine motor development. So as I also spoke for the movement, so those are the gross motor skills. So always the gross motor skills, they come before the fine motor skills. Writing is not only your fingers, it is also more to do with your shoulder muscles
Right.
and your wristed extension. Most of the children, if you see, they write nowadays like this, and
uh,
ideally you are supposed to write like this. So
right.
how do you go about developing this so that it is easier for the child to write later on? Crawling is one of the great activities you can do for your shoulder muscles. Okay, another thing what I would also advise the parents is to work on vertical surfaces like the wall. So you either put a blackboard, or if you don't have a blackboard, it's perfectly fine. You put newspapers, you stick a chart paper and let the child scribble on the blackboard. Now
Hmm.
that also develops your hand extension. It helps you to develop your grasp, which is necessary for holding a pencil.
Right.
The other activities what can be done is you can have your child friendly scissors, help them to cut. And as you said, Babler has those crushing the balls or paper tearing, paper sticking. These are very helpful fine motor activities which you can do with the child. Another thing what you can do is give play-doh to the child, which is also one of the
Right.
best things. Play-doh nahi hai to ghar mein aata hai, aata de do. Let them do that.
Correct.
Poking toothpicks into the atta.
Oh.
Again, that helps you to develop pinch, because the child has to hold the toothpick in this manner. He cannot hold it in this manner. So
Right.
that helps you to develop your pincer grasp.
Correct.
And then even rolling, rolling a roti, that is also very important. Why it is, and how does it help is because it helps you to develop your pressure gradient, which is required for writing. Many
Right.
children write with lot of pressure,
Ah,
but others write very lightly. You can barely read it. So this
mm,
also helps to develop pressure gradient. You can use clips, the clothes clip, what we have.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
are the great activity, for developing your these
Mm,
three fingers, which are again you need for holding a pencil.
right.
Squeezing a sponge, squeezing a water from the sponge, or just washing walls of the bathroom. All
Right.
these activities can be done at home.
Yeah. So I
Even
think there are,
grains, holding.
mm,
Sorry.
right. Now there are a lot of questions coming in, and I think Mona is answering all those questions. In fact, it's like so most of them, like they're asking about what do I do for 18 months or 12 months, or somebody's asking 4 months. So I think she is talking about it maybe in terms of, let's talk about 18-month activity. I think this sorting of grains is a very good idea for these things, right? Right,
Yeah,
Mona?
you can at 18 months, yeah, you can give rajma chawal mix, you can give sing peanuts and chana mix, or if the child is still finding that challenging, you can give potato onions, which is easier for the child to
Ah,
grasp because it is
okay.
big enough also. And you can ask them, give him two containers where he has to sort out, put potatoes in one, put onions in one, which also
Ah,
will develop his sitting tolerance, which will help him develop his grasp. It is also sensorial because the texture of potato and onion is different,
different, correct.
and also sorting. So attention.
As Mona was saying, like these activities, the sorting activities also, various types you can give. And we have in fact recommended quite a few in our this thing. Even like she was talking about the blackboard. You can, even in your home, you can have papers. If you don't want your walls to get spoiled, you can attach papers on all your at the eye level of your child, and give them a crayon to draw on and all that. That's a very interesting activity. Or having all these lids, container lids, all this you can be done, right? Okay. I would just like to show you all a little screen share where she talked about the executive functions. So if I may just share something with you all for a moment. So I hope you can see my screen. So I just wanted to tell you all this, like what are the three brain functions that she talked about. The three types of brain functions, which she talked about is basically working memory, mental flexibility, and self control. So working memory is like the part that she said, it governs the ability to retain and manipulate distinct pieces of information over periods of time. Then mental flexibility, it helps us to like sustain or shift attention, in response to different demands, or to apply different rules in different settings. And self control is, it basically enables us to set priorities and resist impulsive actions or responses. So another one slide I would just like to, just so that you all understand the importance of it. So working memory, what does working memory look like? It's like uh, following rules of a game, doing mental math, or completing chores in order, even remembering story details. Mental flexibility, what that is, these are just some examples that we've given. Switching from play to meal time, solving math problems, making up a new story, handling change and new experiences as well. And what is self control? Uh, so self control is like raising hand in class, waiting in line for your turn, doing work undistracted, sharing toys. So all these very seemingly simple sounding activities, they are all related to this. So I thought this would be useful for you all. And this you all can go and visit this pathways.org. I've picked up this beautiful slide from there. So it's very helpful. Okay, so I'll try and answer some of the questions then until shall we do that? So let's take this one. How does Babler help newborns? My baby is a month old. Well, how does Babler help? We have, our material box. We've talked about, Mona talked about that contrasting cards, black and white and red ones. So we have a baby mobile which you can put over there. And there are, even for tummy time, there is a accordion book which you can place around your child. And, it encourages the tummy time thing, so that when they are on their tummy, they are mesmerized with those cards around. So very useful thing. How is it helpful for 9-month-old activities? Which month will be month-wise only? Activities will be month-wise only. No, Babler is like from 0 to 3 years. So I don't know if you have not registered for a counseling session with us. I think it'll be very useful if you do that. We have activities suggested to you. It's not only about activities. There are a whole set of activities that we have. So we have a material-based activities, as well as things that other activities, digital activities as well. You have right from show cards and storybooks, conversations, all that. So I would suggest that you book a counseling session, and they will help you out with that. um, well, this suggest activities for hand strength, please. Yeah, this is a relevant question. Maybe Mona,
So
you
hand strength see the hand strength as I said, you at around say 4 to 6 months, the child tries to grasp things. So again, your hand strength has started coming over there. Now, what you can do to further enhances it. I mean, at what age you want a specific age, or as I said, you can do a lot of activities like paper cutting, pasting, tearing, playing with the dough, squeezing. Then what also we can do is a lot of lifting up things, which again helps you to have a good grip. Even picking up fine things, like as was suggested, separating the rajma and the chole or something of that kind. So all those things can be done at home. Even
right?
rolling, paper craft is also like rolling. Origami is also origami,
A
like a
very good
paper
activity. Yeah,
folding is also helps, because again it helps you in remembering the steps also. So sequential memory also comes into play with
correct.
that. Even
Correct.
I would also say, piggy bank. So having the coins and putting coins in the piggy bank is also a very good fine motor activity, even helping you to develop your hand strength. Another thing, what the child needs is, holding 2 3 coins and then trying to take it and then putting like one by one.
Ah,
So
yeah.
even this is what we call as finger isolation. So many of
Hmm.
the children hold the pencil like this if you go to see, or
Yeah.
they grasp it, maybe like this. So, but
Uh-huh.
we need this grasp.
Right.
So then those activities can also be encouraged for the child.
Okay, there's one question here. Veena Pankaj is asking, my baby has delayed milestones. How to help him? How to help him? He's 9 months old.
How old is the child? 9. How to help
Nine
him?
months.
Is
Uh,
delayed, but how delayed? Like what is the child doing right now, Veena?
yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk if you like.
Ma'am, he sits with support,
Okay.
and without support, he cannot sit. His grasping power is not very strong.
Okay. But is he taking any physical therapy for the delayed milestone?
Yes, ma'am, physiotherapy.
Physiotherapy he's taking. Okay. And
Yes,
is
ma'am.
he able to creep, like on the stomach? Is he able to move forwards?
Yeah, backward, but not forward.
Forward, he's not able to move.
No.
So that means he still needs to develop his shoulder and arm strength also.
Yes, ma'am. He's not rolling from belly to back also.
Belly to back also. But so I think the physical therapist also would be working on those things.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
Wha-
probably a very specific
Yeah, and
question. So maybe, yeah, maybe you can get in touch with Dr. Mona a little later if that's
yeah,
okay with
can
you. Yeah.
talk privately. Is that okay with you, Veena?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since this is a generic session, na, Veena, so I thought maybe you can speak to Mona later on. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So there's one question here. Please suggest how to improve self-control, like waiting for 5 minutes to get something what they want. Oh wow, this is a good question. I like this question.
Yeah, Vidit, I know you're in love with this question.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No, many of our parents have been asking
yes,
this,
yes. No,
that's
no,
why
of course I agree, because that this is what happens in the garden. They cannot wait for their turn. They cannot
yeah,
stand in the
exactly,
queue.
exactly.
And
That's self-regulation, huh?
yeah. So maybe you can start this at home, just helping them to have kind of giving them a time limit. Okay, or for a count of 10, you are not supposed to do this. You cannot move. Like if you want something, you will get it only after 5 minutes. So that is the way you can start with your self-control. And 5 minutes for a small child is going to be like 5 hours, waiting for
It's a big
even,
time.
yeah, it's a long time. But yes, or you can just have a kind of baby a clock where you can move the arms. Okay, when this long arm comes on, say from 10 to 11 is the time when you get the things done.
Yes.
So that should help in your self-regulation.
Correct. I think Batish Momin has suggested a good game. Statue game, yes, I agree. Freeze frame or statue, that's a
Please,
great
yes.
game to play with your child. I think so. And even like, you can have a game like this, like you have cards with movement cards on it, You play a tune and maybe a group of kids, your whole family can play it. You have all these movement cards, like you
Yeah,
have
like jumping
selected,
jacks or
something like
star.
that. Yeah, so it will have a picture of a man holding his hands up, anything, some actions which are shown on that card, and you play the music, and everybody is running around, and when the music stops, the card is held out and everybody does that action. So that is a very important skill for you have to pay attention to the card, you have to do that action, and if somebody else is doing some other action, okay, you have to do the action what's there in the card. So that's also a very important thing. So hand strength exercise for 5-month old. Any suggestions, Mona?
5-month-old hand strength would be a little.
Yeah, but they can, like, pull up is a good thing, like just for a short time, just hold the
But that is
thumbs.
more of a reflex. It's like
Okay,
what we call, it's more of a reflex.
grasp
When,
reflex. Yeah,
yeah, so when your this outside side border is touched, it's stimulated, automatically the hand's going to flexion. So that wouldn't be hand strength, and that is more of a reflex because of which it goes
mm,
into
yeah.
flexion.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
guess then tummy time is the best thing, because
yeah,
rolling over and trying to hold up, and that is going to help
because
the.
as I said, like to work more, to have good hand strength and good grip, it is very important to work on your shoulders,
Right.
your
Yeah.
shoulders, your upper back muscles. And for that, a lot of, like, for example, for 5-month old, tummy time is the one of the best things. So they
Right.
try to come up on your
Correct.
elbows, and
Yes.
also they try to pull the bed sheet, if
Bed
you have
sheet.
seen
Correct.
those children. So that is also
Right.
helping your developing your finger muscles.
Correct. So I think there are, most of these questions are related to this. Okay, there's one question here. My kid throws the things frequently, food, mobile, or any other things. Told him not to throw. Now he says, "Mama said don't throw," but still he throws, and after throwing, he collects and gives it back. How to explain this to him?
How
Okay,
old is this child? Now, how old is the child?
Vidula, how old is your child? 22 months.
Okay. Has he seen anyone of y'all, either of y'all, or at home, anyone throwing things?
No, no.
So when is it that he throws? That is it he's
From
upset or
no, in the normal course also he throws. Like suppose he took our mobile and then we said, "Ki, no, don't take this mobile." So in that moment he first throw the things, and then nowadays he started that once he throw, he picked up that thing and give it back to me. But at a first go, he throw that things.
okay. So this is also what we call, it may be negative attention. Is it that, Vidula, like lot of no has been said to the child? No, you're not supposed to do this. No, don't do this. No, lot of
Sometimes
no's.
Sometimes it happens. I do agree that, because like once suppose he's throwing, so that time we say, "Ki, don't do this," or he picked up our water bottles and then open it and put the waters on the ground. So we said, "Arey, nahi, don't do this." So I do agree that lots lots of times it gives note from our side, but for the things which he should not do, so that's why it comes from our side, like don't do this kind of thing.
Vidula, what you can try with your child is maybe, just ignore the action, what he has done, just walk away from there. Don't give him negative attention. And for example, if he has spilled water, fine, he has spilled, just don't show any reaction. Just get a cloth and ask him to wipe it off. So maybe
Okay.
what your child is also looking at is maybe a lot of negative attention. Maybe, that is the reason he is showing this behavior.
So I think that's a good suggestion, Mona. But there was something more I would like to add to this, if I may. Yeah. So what happens is when the child, these schemas are developing in the child, and certain child are in these. Like if he is in that trajectory schema, he would tend to do that. So it's not that he is being adamant or he is being this. But he learns that way. So for a while, if you direct that energy like that, you can try that along with Dr. Doshi's suggestions. You can try even this. So there are these various schemas. There are, even like sometimes kids will want to, instead of painting, they will try to paint their hands. So that is called as like an enveloping schema. So these, maybe you can look up the internet. There are all these different kinds of schemas and stages in which the children develop. I don't know if I'm right, Mona. I just thought of it. So
No, definitely. But also at this age, between 2 to 4 years, what is called as terrible twos, what
Yeah.
it is called. It's like a lot of the child getting aware of himself that, okay, it's not necessary I have to listen to you every time. You
Yeah.
also need to listen to me, kind of thing just starts coming up. That awareness starts coming up.
Yeah.
So this is a behavior thing, but don't worry, Vidula. I mean,
Yeah.
it should just phase off. And as Vidyut suggested, a lot of things where you can direct his energy as to throwing a ball, just having a target practice kind of things. Just that would that should also help the child.
Right. So I think, again, throwing food again, Pooja, it's the same trajectory schema. I think if you follow a simpler, I think we've addressed that already. So I think we're running out of time now. Just one more question we can take up before my baby wants to open the fridge again and again. How to divert and want to play with cooker? You want to answer that, Mona?
Opening of fridge.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The
how
fridge
old is
and the
this
cooker.
child?
Pooja, how old is your child?
Yeah, 1.6.
Okay.
1.5 साल.
अच्छा 1.5 साल का है.
So the thing is, he opens the fridge and he shuts it. But
No,
does he
वो
try?
ओपन ही रहने देता है. मतलब उसे मन करता है खोल के वो 15-10 मिनट मतलब उधर ही खड़ा रहे, उसमें से
तो
चीजें
आपके
निकालता
यहाँ
रहे.
बहुत गर्मी है, ठंडा ही उसको वो ठंडा अच्छा लगता है, वो टच करने की ट्राई करता है अंदर जो चीजें ठंडी है, ऐसा कुछ है?
यस, उसमें से कुकुम्बर निकाल के लेके जाता है, कहता कुकुम ऐसे करके, मतलब अलग अलग चीजें निकालना उसे उसमें से अच्छा लगता है, फिर वापस उसके अंदर रखना.
लेकिन
और फ्रिज के अंदर
खाली फ्रिज है, नॉट अपने कबाट में से या ड्रॉवर्स में से, उसमें नहीं, खाली फ्रिज में से ही अच्छा लगता है उसे.
यस, फ्रिज में से ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है. इवन कबर्ड में से कभी कोशिश नहीं करी, वो कभी ध्यान नहीं दिया, लेकिन फ्रिज को रोज ही कोशिश करता है. मतलब अगर एक बार खुला हुआ मिल जाए तो तुरंत भाग के सब कुछ छोड़ देता है जो उसके हाथ में होता है और फिर उसी में लग जाता है.
ओके, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो उसके लिए, 1 या 2 चीज रखो उसको. क्यूकम्बर अच्छा लगता है ना, तो उसको बता दो कि कभी भी ये है तो खाली आपको क्यूकम्बर अलाउड है टच करने के लिए, तो आप क्यूकम्बर ले लो और फिर उधर से चले जाओ. और अगर पॉसिबल है तो आप अगर उसको बता सकते हो कि नहीं भाई और कुछ चीज नहीं, इट इज डेंजरस इन अ वे, यू कैन, अगर आप उसको समझा सकते हो कि थोड़ा डेंजरस है इधर हाथ लगाना, इलेक्ट्रिक करंट भी लग सकता है, शॉक लग सकता है, तो वो तरीके से समझा के आप बताओ उसे. बिकॉज दिस इज ऑल्सो एक बहुत बच्चे ऐसा करते हैं, इधर उन लोग को लाइट के स्विच ऑन एंड ऑफ करना अच्छा लगता है, या आपने जैसे बताया पूजा, बच्चे लोग को फ्रिज खोलना बंद करना अच्छा लगता है.
Yeah.
बहुत बार आ गया
ठीक है.
मिलते हैं
Okay, I think we don't have enough. We've just run out of time now. I guess if there were people asking about Babler, I think this you can please get in touch with our counseling sessions. You can book a counseling session. We can put out that number. If Sonia or Sachin, if you can just put out that number for everyone, so it will help. They can contact and get in touch with us. So I think Mona, thank you very much for this wonderful session that you had with us. I think it was very enlightening, and executive function skills is something that we all must, we would. It will be good to know about and work on them as well. So thank you very much, and this brings us to the end of our 8th session. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Vidit, for having me over here.
Yeah. And thank you very much, audience, for being there. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. See you.